Hello, everybody. All right, so we're going to be working on the final lesson of the sixth grade Go Math middle school textbook. And this lesson is on histograms. And basically, our essential question is how can you display data in a histogram? All right, so grouping data in intervals. So that's the key with a histogram is that we're going to be grouping our data into intervals. All right, so the members of the high school basketball team practice free throws. Each player attempts 50 free throws, and the number of free throws made by each player is listed below. So we have our data, and they've actually listed it in order from least to greatest for us. And so we're going to use a dot plot, like we learned in our previous lesson, to represent the data. So we're going to put a dot above 25. We're going to put two dots above 29. We'll put one above 30, one above 33, one above 34, two above 35, one above 36, one above 39, one above 42, and one above 44. All right. And so on your dot plot, circle the dots that are in each of the intervals in the frequency table below, then complete the frequency table. So we have an interval from 20 to 29, 30 to 39, and 40 to 49. All right. So how many do we have from 20 to 29? We just have three dots. So there are three players that made between 20 to 29 free throws. From 30 to 39, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players that made 30 to 39 free throws. And we have two players that made 40 to 49 free throws. All right, so now let's use this data plot and the frequency table to analyze the data. How were the data collected? Well, the players took free throws, right? And they counted how many they made. Okay. How many data values are there? There's 12. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And it wants us to find the mean, the median, the range, and the interquartile range. All right, so the mean is the average of the numbers, right? So we can add them up. We have 25 plus 29 and 29 is 58. 30 and 33 is 63. 34 and 36 is 70. 235s is 70. And then we have 42 and 44, which is 86. So 13, 16, 22. 22, 372. And we take 372 and divide by 12. We come up with a mean of 31. Let's make sure I've added that correctly. 7. 63, 70, 70. Oh, I left off 39. I didn't add 39. So, no, that's not correct. So actually it should have been 411 divided by 12. All right, so 34.25 is the mean. The median, we can just cross off from the ends until we get to the middle value. Okay, we're left with 2 in the middle. So the median is going to be in between 34 and 35, so 34 and a half. The range is the difference between the highest value and the lowest value. So 44 minus 25, 19. And the interquartile range. All right, so there's 6 in the lower half and 6 in the upper half. Okay, the lower quartile is in between 29 and 30, so 29 and a half. Okay, so lower quartile, 29 and a half, and the upper quartile is in between 36 and 39. So 37 and a half. Okay, so the interquartile range is the difference between the upper and lower quartile. So we have an answer of 8. As I was looking at the notes for this, the teacher's edition actually lists the interquartile range as 6. But if the upper quartile is 37 and a half and the lower is 29 and a half, it has to be 8. So, all right, so there's the information we can get from the players shooting free throws. All right, so page 480, number 1. Can you use the dot plot to find the mean and the median of the data? Yes, of course we can. Can you use the frequency table? Okay, so let's look at the frequency table. 20 to 29. We don't know what those specific numbers are if we're just looking at the frequency table, right? I don't know if there was a number that was 20, if it was 29, if it's 28. So I can't use the frequency table to find the mean and median. So no to the second question. The dot plot, we can see each of the individual data values. Okay. However, the frequency table, we don't know the individual values. Okay, so can you use the dot plot to find the mean and median? Yes, because the dot plot shows all the data values. so you can find the median and the mean. Can you use the frequency table? No, because the frequency table groups the data into intervals, so we can't see the individual data values. So there's no way to find the mean and median. 2, how do you find the number of data values in a data set from a dot plot? How can you find the number of data values from a frequency table? Well, in the dot plot, we just add up all the dots, right? So count the number of dots. And on our frequency table, just find the sum of the frequencies. So in our frequency table, in the previous one, we had 3, 7, and 2. So add those together, we get 12. So there was 12 data points. All right, so now let's use a histogram. A histogram is a type of bar graph whose bars represent the frequencies of numeric data within intervals. So again, it's not individual values, it's things, data grouped together. So for instance, we have a bird watcher counts, and records the number of birds at a bird feeder every morning at 9 for several days. And 12, 3, 8, 1, 1, 6, 10, blah, 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 right? Okay, so we need to make a frequency table based on that. And so they filled out the frequency table for us, and they broke the intervals into 1 to 4, and there were 8 birds. I'm sorry, 1 to 4 birds 8 times, 5 to 8 birds 4 times, 9 to 12 birds twice, and 13 to 16 birds once. Okay. And so we see that here. You notice that all the bars are the same width, okay, that they don't overlap, and there's no gaps between them. Okay. All right, so the intervals are listed along the horizontal axis, and the vertical axis shows the frequencies. So for each interval, draw a bar to show the number of days in that interval, and the bar should have equal widths. And they should touch but not overlap. All right, so we're going to practice now on number 3. So suppose the bird watchers continues his observation for 3 more days and collects these new data values, 5, 18, and 2. How could you change the histogram to include the data? Well, let's see. So right now I look here and I don't see 18 on the histogram, right? So we'd have to add another bar, right? And so then the other one was 5 and 2. So for 5, we'd have to add 1 more. And for 2, we'd have to add it 1 more to the 1 to 4. And the 17 to 20 interval would be 1 unit high because there's only 1. And then we're going to increase the bar heights. So again, to show 18, we'd have to add an interval of 17 to 20. That bar would be 1 unit high. And then we'd increase the heights for the intervals 1 to 4 and 5 to 8 by 1 unit each. All right, number 4. Kim has started rating each movie she sees using a scale of 1 to 10 on an online site. Here are her ratings so far. Okay, so we see these 6, 9, 8, so on, right? All right, so it says make a histogram of the data. And we see that her ratings are 1 to 2, 3 to 4, 5 to 6, 7 to 8, 9 to 10. So those are our intervals. So I'm going to go ahead and make a table. And we need to find the frequency of each one. So how many times did she rate a movie 1 or 2? I see only 1. Okay, how many did she rank from 3 to 4? 1, 2, 2. 5 to 6. 1, 2, 3, 3. 7 to 8. Seven of the movies she rated as between 7 and an 8. And finally, 9 to 10. 1, 2. Okay, so 10, 12, 14, 15. All right, so our frequency adds up to 15. So there are 15 movie ratings. So now we just have to complete our graph. So how many were 1 to 2? Only 1. Well, each line is worth 2, so we're going to be right in the middle. 3 to 4 has a height of 2. 5 to 6 has a height of 3. 7 to 8 has a height of 7. 9 to 10 has a height of 2. All right. Well, that's basically what our histogram would look like. All right, so now analyzing a histogram. By grouping the data intervals, a histogram gives a picture of the distribution of a data set. So use the histogram from example 1. What are some conclusions about the data that you can make from the shape of the distribution? Okay, so from example 1, we have this histogram, right? Well, we see that the highest bar is between the intervals of 1 to 4, right? Okay, so the highest bar is 1 to 4, which means that on more than half the days, 8 out of 15 in fact, the birdwatcher saw only 1 to 4 birds. The bars decrease in height from left to right. And that would show that it's more likely for the birdwatcher to see a small number of birds rather than a large number of birds. Okay, so the number of birds, as the number of birds increases, the number of times he sees them decreases. So now 5. Use the histogram from your turn, number 4. And what are some conclusions you can make about Kim's movie ratings? Well, most of the movies she rated 7 or greater, right? Because she rated 7, 8, 9 of the 15 movies as greater than 7 or greater. So Number 4. All right, Wendy kept track of the number of text messages she sent each day for 3 weeks. Complete the frequency table. So we have an interval of 0 to 9. So the next interval would be 10 to 19, 20 to 29, and 30 to 39. So how many do we have from 0 to 9? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. From 10 to 19, we have 1, 2, 3. 20 to 29, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And from 30 to 39, 5. Okay, so 21 data points, and our frequency adds up to 21. So we have all the numbers accounted for. All right. So now Ed counted the number of seats available in each cafe in his town. Use his data for numbers 2 to 3. 2 and 3. All right, so we have, these are his data points, and we need to find how many are from 1 to 7. There's only one, that's 1 to 7. 8 to 14, 1, 2, 3, 3. 15 to 21, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 22 to 28, 2. All right, so we complete the frequency table now. How many cafes have 1 to 7 seats? Only one. 8 to 14 seats was 3. 15 to 21, 4. And 22 to 28 was 2. All right. So we can see by looking at the histogram that most of the cafes have 8 or more seats. Okay. So what are some conclusions you can make about the distribution of the data? Well, I see only one cafe has 7 or less seats, right? Only one cafe had 1 to 7 seats. And 6 out of the 10 had 15 or more. So most of the cafes have 15 or more seats. So 6 out of 10 have 15 or more seats. All right, number 4, how can you display data in a histogram? Well, we have to put the data in order, right? So order the data from least to great. Okay, so after we've organized the data, we're going to put them in intervals. So all the numbers are included. The intervals need to have the same size. And then make a bar graph. All right, order the data from least to greatest, organize the data in intervals of the same size, make a bar graph of the frequency for each interval. Number 5. An amusement park employee records the ages of the people who ride the new roller coaster during a 15-minute period. And so we have the list of the ages of the riders. Okay, and so we're going to have to complete the whole histogram here. So we're going to need labels on the horizontal and vertical axis, and we'll need to include the intervals. All right, so let's go ahead and put these numbers in order from least to greatest. Least value is 11. Then 12. $16, and there's two 16s. 117, and then 18. 1, 2, 3, 4 18s. All right, 20. 21, 1. There's two 23s. 24. And two 29s. We have a 31. 35 and 38. 43. 45, 47. 48. 50 and 56. All right, let's see, make sure we've included all the data points. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 20, 22, 24, 25. Okay, so there are 25 numbers. And so our first interval, 10, 19. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 20 to 29. 7. 30 to 39. 3. 40 to 49. 4. And 50 to 59. Only 2. All right, so we have 5 intervals. We have 10 to 19, 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, and 50 to 59. And we have from 2 to 9, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. So I'm going to make each of these 2s. Okay. All right, so 10 to 19, there are 9. 20 to 29, 7. 30 to 39, 3. 40 to 49, 4. And our last one is just 2. All right, so these are ages of writers, and these are the frequency. Okay. All right, so describe 2 things you know about the writers who are represented by the data. Well, we know that the highest number of writers is between the ages of 10 and 19. So the greatest number of writers I also know that no writer was older than 59 or younger than 10. All right, 7. West Middle School class has classes of many different sizes during first period. The number of students in each class is shown. All right, so let's put our numbers in order again. 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 10, 12, 13, 14, 14, 3 18s, 1 19, 21, 2 20s, 21, 22, 23, 24, 26, 28, 20. All right, so there are 20 numbers, and so Hank made a histogram using intervals of 6 to 10, 11 to 15, and so on. How many bars did his histogram have? So it goes up to 28, right? So we'd have 6 to 10, 11 to 15, 16 to 20, 21 to 25, 26 to 30. So he'd have 5. And what was the height of the highest bar? 6 to 10 would be 4. 11 to 15 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 16 to 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 21 to 25, 1, 2, 3, 4. And 26 to 32. So the highest one would be 16 to 20. Lisa made a histogram using intervals of 0 to 9, 10 to 19, and so on. How many bars did her histogram have? 0 to 9, 10 to 19, 20 to 29. So that would include all the data points right there. So hers would have 3. And which one would be the highest on hers? 10 to 19. Okay, so again, how many bars does she have? Well, if you have 0 to 9, 10 to 19, and 20 to 29, that would include all of our data points. So she has 3. The highest one is 10 to 19. Besides a histogram, what are some other ways you could display these data? Well, we could use a dot plot, right? We could use a box plot. There's just a couple of those. You probably use a regular bar graph. All right, number 8. Can you find the mean or median of a set of data from a histogram? No, we've already said that. Because we can't see the individual data points. Okay, 9. A theater owner keeps track of how many people come to see movies on 21 different Saturdays. All right, use the data to make a histogram. So we have 60 to 69, 70 to 79, 80 to 89, 90 to 99. And we have frequencies from 1 to 10. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. All right. So moviegoers from 60 to 99. From 60 to 69, there was only one day, one Saturday, that only had 60 to 69. There were 3 from 70 to 79. Jumps up to 10 between 80 and 89 moviegoers. So there was 10 Saturdays with 80 to 89 moviegoers, and there were 7 days or 7 Saturdays of 90 to 99. So the theater owner asks, how many moviegoers come to the theater on a typical Saturday? What would you tell the theater owner? Well, it looks like out of 21 days, the majority, we have 17 Saturdays where there was more than 80 moviegoers. So I would say he could expect between 80 and 99 moviegoers to show up. So he could expect between 80 and 99 because 17, 10, and 7, 17 out of the 21 Saturdays, at least 80 people showed up. Is the theater owner's question a statistical question? So in other words, does the data vary from day to day or from Saturday to Saturday? Yes. So this is a statistical question. Okay, remember, a statistical question, the responses must vary. If you were to ask me how tall a person is, a particular person, that's not a statistical question because you're just talking about one piece of data. All right, and number 10, Irina says she can find the range of a set of data from a histogram. Is she correct? No, we've been talking about that. We don't know that the highest number was 99. The highest number might have been 97. We don't know that the lowest number was 60 by looking at the histogram. So there's no way of knowing the highest and lowest. Okay. So no, histogram groups data in intervals, which means you can't see the individual values. If you can't see the individual values, you can't know what the greatest and least values are, so you can't find the range. All right, so that was our last lesson of the 6th grade middle school textbook. So I hope you gained some information from and found the videos helpful. And I wish you luck in your further math pursuits.